How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball, and welcome back to another episode of Predict the Prem, where me and my brother go head to head in predicting Premier League outcomes. The international break is in the past, and we look forward to a week's worth of Premier League action. The international break does rear its ugly head again in about a month's time, but let's get into the Premier League action. And the way it works is me and Sim have got scorings between us on predicting Premier League outcomes. At the moment, as you can see, it's 57 points to Sim, 56 points to myself. And the way the scoring works, it's 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 2 points for a correct result. Sorry, 1 point for a correct result. And the star man, once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season. It's 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. And let's get into the weekend's action, starting off at Molineux Wolves against Liverpool, which is the 12:30 kickoff on the Saturday. Wow. 4-1 Sim's gone for against
Shock.
Wolves. I've gone for 2-0, but why 4-1? Big score.
Yeah, I think Liverpool are playing really well at the moment. I think they're really starting to hit their stride from what I'm seeing on the pitch. I think their firepower is going to be way too much for Wolves. Wolves have been playing okay, but again, really lack that clinical edge. I like their midfield. I think it could cause Liverpool some trouble. I don't see their front line causing Liverpool enough trouble. And I'm looking at their back line, and we've got people like Craig Dawson in there. And I just think Liverpool are going to have a lot of fun with that. So I reckon Wolves cause them a bit of trouble with the goal, but I think they're just going to get destroyed. So 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool are going into this with quite a lot of injury worries, to be honest. Virgil van Dijk, I think, suspended for this one. Konate is injured.
He's
Trent,
fit, actually.
Oh, he's fit now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Trent didn't train. Darwin Núñez didn't train either. So there are some concerns going into it. But I do think that no matter what defence kind of Liverpool put out, Wolves are going to struggle to score in this one. They've lacked firepower up front for many years now. I mean, Pedro Neto has been playing well, but I still think they're going to lack goals in this game. But I think Liverpool obviously have goals down the other end with many different players that can score. Mohamed Salah, Cody Gakpo, Diego Jota, so many players. Dominic Szoboszlai as well. So I think Liverpool will win this game fairly comfortably, but I didn't go for a big scoreline. I've just gone for 2-0 to Liverpool. Next up is Aston Villa against Crystal Palace at Villa Park. We've gone for the exact same scorelines here in 2-1 to Aston Villa. And I think at home at Villa Park, Villa will have the edge here against Crystal Palace. I was actually toying with a draw. I think it is going to be quite a closely fought game, but I've just sided with Aston Villa to win in front of their home fans, and they're kind of building up a head of steam at the moment. So I think Villa will carry on their fairly good form at the moment.
Yeah, they've had a bit of a mixed start to the season, Villa. 2 really poor away games against Newcastle and against Liverpool, but the home games have been all right. They've performed quite well in those games. So I think they've got the quality. I'm really liking the look of Moussa Diaby right now. I think he's looking really good, and I think he's supporting Watkins really well. I think Palace are very heavily reliant on Eze, and I think we even saw that in the game against Wolves, which they ended up winning 3-1. But it was a very close game, but a moment of class from Eze kind of separated the sides. But if Eze is not really doing it, I really see them struggling to cause Villa a lot of trouble. And I know Villa do maybe struggle a bit more when they're playing against low blocks, and I do think Palace will kind of look to frustrate them. But I just look at their quality, and I think they should have enough just to get them over the line in a tight game. So 2-1.
Next up is Fulham against Luton in the London derby at Craven Cottage. I've gone for 3-1 to Fulham on the day, and Sim has gone for 1-0 to Fulham here.
Yeah, I think, again, close game. Not close game. I think Fulham will dominate. But I just look at their front line. I'm not seeing where the goals are coming from here. And I think they're really going to struggle to be clinical unless maybe Jimenez can really turn up. I just think their front line lacks that clinical edge. Luton, again, are going to look to try and steal a point here. They're going to set up to frustrate. They were doing a fairly good job, I thought, against West Ham of doing that. But unfortunately, the pressure told from West Ham. They ended up winning the game 2-1. But I feel like away at Craven Cottage, I just think that Fulham don't have the quality that West Ham have up front. So I can see them struggling even more to score goals in this game. But I think maybe from a set piece or a penalty or something that they will get over the line. But I see a bit of a struggle, so 1-0.
Yeah, they absolutely got battered in their first home game of the season against Brentford 3-0 a couple of weeks ago. And I feel like they're going to want to put that right against a team which they really should be beating in Luton, who've had a horrid start to Premier League campaign so far. So I think that Fulham do have players that can hurt them, with Andreas Pereira with his delivery, and I think from set pieces they'll be quite dangerous in this game. And I feel Luton can get a goal going the other way, but I just feel this Fulham team, like most teams, will probably be a bit too strong for Luton coming in, especially at Craven Cottage. So 3-1 to Fulham. Next up is Manchester United against Brighton. We've gone for the exact same scoreline here, 2-2. United have been fairly lucky so far this year with the points that they have got on the board, to be honest. That win against Wolves on the first game of the season should have been completely different. Maybe they were a bit unlucky not to get anything at the Emirates, but I think at Old Trafford they usually do kind of ride their luck and get the points on the board. And I think against this Brighton side, who will put them under pressure throughout the whole game, I just feel like Man United again will just get some stroke of luck, with Brighton pretty much controlling the game. But I think 2-2.
Yeah, I agree. I can see Brighton controlling possession with the way they like to set up. And I think as well, Man United maybe like it a bit more transitional. And I actually think they will prefer Brighton to control possession in this game, so they can break into the space with the likes of Rashford, maybe Højlund, maybe Martial as well. So I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I can see it being an open game. I think Brighton, on the other hand, might take advantage of the fact that United have a lot of changes at the back. Maybe Reguilón will make his debut. We don't know what the situation is with Lisandro Martinez, or I know Varane's going to be out, so you might see Lindelof again, or might see
Anthony won't be there either.
Anthony won't be there. Sancho probably won't be there. But I still think up front, they've got Garnacho, they've got Rashford, they've got Højlund or Martial up front. So they've got enough talent there to hurt Brighton. So I've gone for an entertaining game, but I can't see Man United shutting them out. But you have to say, I think United still haven't lost a home game in the league under Ten Hag. So, fair play.
They didn't lose at all home last season?
I think so. They're unbeaten, I think, the whole season last season at home.
Wow. That's impressive. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so. So, I think they'll get a point.
Wow. All right, moving on to Tottenham against Sheffield United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We've both gone for 3-0 to Tottenham Hotspur on the day, and I think Sheffield United will set up to frustrate Spurs, but I think once Spurs get that first goal, I think the floodgates could open a little bit, as Sheffield United probably come out in search for an equaliser or to get back into the game. And I think Spurs are attacking so well at the moment, and defending well at the moment, to be fair as well, with Romero and Van de Ven at the back. So I think Spurs are going to be way too strong for Sheffield United this weekend, albeit I think it might be a bit of a cagey start to the game.
Yeah, I think Cameron Archer looks like a tricky customer for Sheffield United, and he has done really well in his first game. Got a brace kind of on his debut, albeit the second goal was given a own goal. But he looks like maybe he could be the one to look to hurt Spurs on the counter. But other than that, I think Tottenham are going to be full of energy, full of confidence. They're going to really press Sheffield United and try and not allow them to have any sort of draw in the counter-attack. And when it comes to penning Sheffield United in, I think we're just going to have too much quality, unfortunately, for Sheffield United. Unfortunately for them. But I think Spurs, at the moment, we're rocking and rolling, so I think we should take Sheffield United to the sword. So I know they gave Man City a good game, but I think away to Tottenham, we should have it. So 3-0.
Yeah, and it's important to win this game, especially with the two games that we've got next with Arsenal and Liverpool. Next up is West Ham against Manchester City at the London Stadium. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Manchester City.
Yeah, I see, again, a fairly close game. I think they'll try and do what they did to Brighton, West Ham, which is sit very deep, look to exploit with Bowen, Antonio in the channels, maybe get Ben Rama involved as well. They've got a few new signings to bed in. Kudus maybe can make his first start. Ward-Prowse and Edson Alvarez really settling in as well. So I'm liking the look of this new West Ham team, to be honest. But when you've got Man City, you've got Haaland in the form he's in, you've got Alvarez who's kind of buzzing around as well, and they've kind of got a formation to play them both.
Foden as well, yeah.
Foden, you can say any of those players in the front line, they're just all exceptional. So I see a close game. I see it only one, a bit similar to Sheffield United, won by the odd goal. And I see West Ham do cause them trouble on the counter, but I think City should have just enough, so I've gone for 2-1.
I actually think this game is going to be really tight going into the latter stages of the game, but I think quality will shine through, like the players that you mentioned. I think Foden is really on form at the moment. Haaland, Alvarez, I mean, everyone that you just mentioned is just bang in form at the moment. But West Ham have had a brilliant start to their season in their own right, but I just feel like like with Man City coming to the London Stadium, the best team in the world at the moment. So I think that West Ham probably get it's their first loss of the season if they lose, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, so I think their first loss will come this weekend at the hands of Manchester City. Next up, Newcastle against Brentford. I've gone for 2-1 to Newcastle. Newcastle on the back of 3 defeats in a row in the Premier League, and with Brentford coming to St James's Park, it's not exactly the easiest tie, but I do feel that Newcastle will just sneak it over the line. I think they're going to want to perform in front of their home fans as well. On top of that, overturn the deficit of those 3 defeats in a row. So I think that Newcastle will just about get over the line, but I think it'll be a really tight game of football.
Yeah, I've actually gone for a draw in this game. I think Brentford are a very well organised counter-attacking team. I think Newcastle are going to want the impetus in this game, and they're going to kind of go for Brentford. And I think Brentford will like that. Yes, they're going to have to ride the storm of some very good players with Isaac and Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali. But I think Brentford, still unbeaten in the Premier League, and they've made a fairly solid start despite only winning 1 of their 4. They've drawn the other 3, but I think they've looked pretty good. I think Mbeumo's going to enjoy playing in this game, and I can see Brentford giving Newcastle a lot of trouble. And Newcastle may be a bit low on confidence right now. I think it's the kind of game like you don't want to face like a very tricky Brentford side who are very clever tactically. So I think it's going to be 1-1.
Next up is Bournemouth against Chelsea. Sim has gone for 3-1 to Chelsea. I've gone for 2-1 to Chelsea in this game. I think Bournemouth on the back of quite an impressive 2-2 draw away at Brentford, to be fair. And I think, look, they're looking good in parts, Bournemouth, and I'm liking the look of their manager and the system that they're playing, but they're not getting results too much at the moment. I think they've won, one game so far this season, right at the beginning?
Bournemouth haven't won yet.
Oh, they haven't even won yet, so there you go. But I think in some of the games that they are playing, you're seeing what the manager's trying to do. But Chelsea, on the other hand, I think the results have been poor, but they are actually creating chances. They're missing a lot of chances. I think their XG has been quite high so far in this Premier League season. And I think that they'll get a host of chances in this game, but I'm not sure how. I think they'll put away maybe 2 of them and just edge out the game, but they should be getting a lot more goals than they're getting. And I think it's only a matter of time, to be honest, until Chelsea start putting the ball in the back of the net. But look, I'm going for 2-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, I've gone 3-1. I think this game will suit them a lot more than maybe the Forest game just before the international break, where they have to break down a very stubborn low block team. I think Bournemouth are going to try and attack them and press them and leave a lot of space going the other way. We saw when Bournemouth played Spurs that they can be quite effective in their press, but do they have the quality to really shut out this Chelsea team where if they do start to build into the game and get going? I highly doubt it. I think Sterling's in great form. I can see Jackson getting a lot of joy as well in this game. I just think Bournemouth, they'll cause Chelsea trouble, but I think at the end of the day, Chelsea have too much quality. So I've gone for 3-1 to Chelsea.
Everton against Arsenal at Goodison Park. We've both gone for the exact same scoreline here, and I was doing a look into these 2 teams, the way they fared at Goodison Park, and Arsenal's last win at Goodison Park was 2017, and on top of that, they've only won twice there since 2012, which absolutely blew me away. I couldn't believe what a bad record Arsenal actually have there. But having said that, I think Arsenal haven't started the season probably as they would want to, but they're getting the results, which is the main thing, and I think this will carry on this weekend at Goodison Park. I mean, I think that Beto is probably a really good striker to go and face at Arsenal. He's a very physical, big striker, so I think it's a Sean Dyche type of signing. I think he can cause problems, maybe Arsenal from set pieces and stuff like that, but I think Arsenal will win this game 1-0 in a very kind of workmanlike performance.
Yeah, I can see it being a very tight game, and I can see we saw in Sean Dyche's first game at Everton, he beat Arsenal 1-0, and it was like the perfect kind of Sean Dyche performance, and I can see him trying to replicate that. But I just think at the moment Everton just can't put the ball in the back of the net. They just can't hit the net for love nor money, and I think Arsenal have not playing too well, but they know how to grind out victories. They did it last season on a few occasions, and I can see them just a bit of a snatch and grab in this game. Obviously, they're going to control it. I can see Everton creating some good quality chances, but I think they just don't have that clinical edge. And if Arsenal can find that one pass from Odegaard or that one set piece or just that one moment of quality, I reckon it should be just enough to see them over the line. So 1-0.
And finally, Monday Night Football is at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest against Burnley. Burnley have had a shocking start to the season, to be fair. Nottingham Forest are actually performing really well and had a really good start to the season. Sim's gone for 2-2. I've gone for 2-1 to Forest. I feel like These guys did play each other actually a few weeks ago in the Carabao Cup. It finished 1-0 to Burnley at the City Ground. And I feel like it could be a bit of a revenge mission here in the Premier League. And I think the result will be overturned. Awani wasn't in the starting lineup for that game in the Cup. And I feel he will start this game. And I think he will get a goal or two, as you'll see in my star man in a second. But I think Forest are playing well. And I think they'll be a bit too much for this Burnley side. And I think Burnley will be a bit too open as well here at the City Ground.
Yeah, I've gone for 2-2. I can see Forest actually, who usually play a bit more of a low block counter-attack kind of style, I can actually see them being a bit more open and expansive in this one just because they're at home to a promoted side. They know that the impetus is on them to try and win this game in front of the home crowd. So I can see them being a bit more attacking. And that might play into Burnley's hands a bit more because I think they like to play with a bit more space. And I think that I saw good things from Burnley against Spurs, albeit Spurs in the end had too much quality. I don't think Forest have the same amount of quality like a team like Tottenham do, and I can see Burnley getting quite a lot of joy out of Forest, especially with the way they press. And I actually see Burnley controlling the game, but I think Forest, with, as you say, Awani, more Gibbs-White, they do have some firepower to hurt Burnley. But I actually think I'm looking at Burnley. I think the way they're going to set up, it's going to be, I reckon they're going to cause Forest a lot of problems as well. So I couldn't separate it. I went for 2-2.
And let's move on to the star men. Once we do pick these men, we cannot pick them again for the rest of the season. And Sim has gone for Diogo Jota.
Against Wolves, against his former club, with Nunes out as well. I think he'll start. He's in pretty good form, so I've gone for him to score.
Yeah, and I've gone for Awani at home to Burnley. I think Burnley will be open on the day, and I think this game will bring quite a few goals. And I think he's had a goal contribution in every single one of his games so far. 3 goals and 1 assist in his opening 4 games. So I'm picking the man in form, which is Taiwo Awoniyi. So that is our Predict the Prem and our star man. Let me know in the comments section below who you think is going to come out on top this week, me or Sim. Put your predictions and your star man as well in the comment section below. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.